Welcome back to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed.
Hey there.
We're still working our way through the MPP, the Manual of Patent Examining Procedure, chapter by chapter, section by section.
Yep, giving you those insights into the U.S. patent examination process. It's quite the journey.
It really is. So we're in
Yeah.
chapter 700, Examination of Applications. And today we're zeroing in on a pretty specific section, MPP, section 705.
That's right. Section 705 covers patentability reports, often called PRS.
BRS.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I gather this isn't something you see every day.
Oh, definitely not. It's a procedural tool that's fascinating precisely because it's rarely used. It really shows how the system tries to cope when an invention just doesn't fit neatly into one box.
Right, for those really exceptional cases that cross technical boundaries.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack what a PR actually is, figure out when and why it might pop up, and maybe more practically when it's definitely not supposed to be used.
Sounds good. Let's get a clear picture of this niche tool. So, starting in the beginning, what exactly is a patentability report?
Okay, so think of it simply as an internal memo inside the USPTO.
Just a communication between examiners or TCs.
Pretty much. It's written when a single patent application has claims covering, well, multiple different subject areas, so different that they actually span different technology centers or TCs.
Okay. So not just like software and slightly different software, but maybe software controlling a novel chemical process, something really distinct.
That's the idea, where you genuinely need different kinds of technical expertise to properly examine all the claims.
Okay. And there's a key condition, right? It's not just any application with diverse claims.
Right. The absolute crucial point is that these claims, the ones spanning different TCs, they cannot be easily separated. You can't just divide the application or group them neatly for one examiner. They have to be, inseparable.
Inseparable. Got it. So it's for these tricky, intertwined, multi-technology inventions. So when does this PR process actually get triggered?
Well, the trigger is exactly that situation you described. You've got these inseparable claims, they cross TC lines, and they really need that specialized examination from another group.
Okay.
In that case, the primary examiner who has the application might, it's not automatic, refer those specific claims, or maybe the whole case contextually, to another TC, the one that has the right expertise.
And you emphasized rare before? The MPPP probably underlines
Oh,
this.
absolutely. The manual is very explicit.
Right.
This whole procedure is meant only for exceptional cases. It's really not standard operating procedure.
Right. Avoids gumming up the works unnecessarily.
Eh.
Okay, so let's say a case is deemed exceptional, it gets referred. What does the PR process itself involve? Who does the work?
So the main work, the heavy lifting, if you will, is done by the reporting TC. That's the group it was referred to.
The specialists for that part of the invention.
Exactly. And they put together this report. It's not just a quick note. It needs to include a full prior art search, but focus just on those specific claims referred to them.
Okay, a targeted search.
Right. Then they have to analyze the art they find, explain how it relates to those claims, and finally, they give a recommendation. Basically, their expert opinion. Should these specific claims be allowed, rejected, based on their search and analysis?
So a significant examination effort from the reporting side, just on their piece. Who signs this thing?
The primary examiner in that reporting TC, the one who oversaw or did the work, signs the report.
Okay. But does that signature make it final? What about getting everyone on board? Approval. Disagreements must happen sometimes.
They do, and there are procedures for that. For the PR to actually become part of the official record, it's not enough for just the reporting examiner to sign it.
Needs more buy-in.
Yeah. You need agreement between the primary examiner back in the original TC, the one who requested it, and the primary examiner in reporting TC.
Okay. Both examiners need to concur.
And even then, there's another layer. The TC director from the requesting TC, the original one, also has to approve the whole thing.
Wow. Okay, so agreement between two primary examiners and a director's approval. That sounds like it could definitely hit some snags.
For sure, and the MTP anticipates that. For instance, if the examiner in the reporting TC gets the referral and thinks, this isn't really appropriate for a PR, they can actually decline to prepare it.
They can just say no.
Essentially, yes, if they have a good reason based on the rules. And if there are disagreements later, maybe, about how claims are classified, or the search scope, or the actual patentability findings, the first step is usually inter-TC consultation.
Meaning
Meaning the examiners, maybe their supervisors too, from both TCs, get together and talk it out. Try to resolve the differences.
And if they just can't agree?
Well, then the report might not get that final director approval, or it could even be decided to just remove the report from the application file altogether.
Huh. So it just disappears.
Effectively, yeah, from the official record for that application, the original examiner would then just have to proceed, maybe noting the attempt at consultation didn't resolve things.
Interesting. What about appeals? If claims handled via a PR end up going to the PT?
Yeah, there's a rule for that. If it happens that all the claims being appealed fall squarely within the expertise of the reporting TC,
The specialists.
right, then the entire application file might actually be transferred over to that reporting TC specifically to handle the appeal.
Keeps the expertise aligned, even at the appeal stage. Okay. Now, moving away from the how and when, you mentioned the MPEP is quite clear on when PRs are improper. This seems important.
Very important, because the default is not to use them. The policy actively discourages PRs in common scenarios involving related inventions. The whole point is to avoid adding unnecessary complexity.
Keep things streamlined. So what are some of these common situations where a PR is generally a no-go?
The manual gives specific examples, like claims to a process and the product that results directly from that process.
Okay, standard stuff.
Or the flip side, claims to a product and the specific process used to make that product. Or claims to a combination of parts, along with separate claims to just a subset, a subcombination of those parts.
Things that naturally go together in an application. Like, you invent a new widget and the machine that makes the widget. You'd likely claim both.
Exactly. In those kinds of standard relationships, the thinking is that a single examiner, maybe with some database searching or internal consults, should be perfectly capable of handling the whole examination efficiently.
Right. You don't need to split it up formally between TCs just because there's a process and a product claim.
Precisely. It's about keeping related aspects under one examiner's view when it makes sense, which is most of the time for these common pairings.
Okay, that really clarifies the improper side. So given they're rare and often improper, what's the underlying policy reason they even exist? Why have this tool at all?
The core policy boils down to this. Patentability reports should only be used if they provide a clear, demonstrable benefit.
And that benefit is?
It's usually framed in one of two ways. Either it clearly saves overall examiner time, or it demonstrably improves the quality of the examination.
How does involving another TC and needing extra approvals save time? Seems counterintuitive.
It saves time in total across the office. The logic is for those genuinely complex, inseparable claims needing deep, specialized knowledge. It's faster for an expert in the reporting TC to do that focused examination once than for the original examiner who lacks that specific expertise to try and get up to speed and potentially miss things or take much longer.
Okay. Avoids the non-expert struggling inefficiently. Makes sense. And improving quality.
That comes directly from having the right expert look at the right claims. If claims touch on, say, advanced AI algorithms and they're inseparable from the rest of the invention, getting an examiner who lives and breathes AI to assess those claims against the AI prior art leads to a higher quality, more reliable examination of that specific aspect.
Especially when, as the rule requires, you can't just split those claims off into a separate application.
Exactly. You get the best eyes on that inseparable piece.
And Section 705 gets into some practical nuts and bolts too, right? Internal stuff?
Yeah, it covers some administrative details, like procedures if the supervisors in different TCs disagree, how the work time for PRs is tracked and credited internally, and importantly for applicants and their attorneys, if you have an interview with the examiner about claims that were part of a PR, the examiner from the reporting TC might need to join that interview.
Oh, okay. So the collaboration could extend right into the interview process.
Potentially, yeah, if needed, to discuss the specifics they handled.
So bringing it all together then,
Yeah.
even with this mechanism for rare, specialized collaboration, the main objective hasn't changed.
Not at all. The ultimate goal, which tools like PRs are meant to serve in these fringe cases, is always efficient, high-quality patent examination, getting to the right decision on patentability based on a solid understanding of the invention and the art.
Okay, so let's connect this back to you, the listener. Why should someone trying to learn the MPP care about this relatively obscure Section 705?
Well, I think understanding even the rarely used corners of the MPP, like this section, gives you a richer, more complete view of the whole patent examination system. It shows you the system has thought about edge cases.
Yeah, it definitely highlights the inherent complexity the USPTO deals with. It shows there are mechanisms, however specific, for when things don't fit neatly. even if the PR itself is reserved for, like, the absolute extreme of not fitting neatly.
And maybe there's a practical takeaway, even if indirect. While PRs are only for inseparable claims, thinking about this process kind of underscores the importance of claim drafting generally.
How so?
It illustrates the potential procedural tangles that can happen when claims cross distinct technical fields. It subtly reinforces why carefully structuring claims and maybe separating distinct inventions into different applications when possible often leads to a smoother examination path.
Right. Avoids even getting close to the inseparable threshold where something like a PR might even be considered. Okay, so here's a thought to leave everyone with. No, just something to think about. Given that these patentability reports are explicitly designed only for exceptional cases, where claims spanning different fields are truly inseparable, what does the fact that this procedure is so rarely used actually tell us? What does it imply about how the USPTO handles the vast majority of complex, multifaceted inventions without resorting to a PR?
That's a good question. It probably suggests that the standard examination process, maybe with informal consultations or just examiners stretching their knowledge a bit, is actually pretty robust and adaptable. Or maybe that applicants generally do a decent job of separating inventions or claiming them in ways that can be handled by a single primary examiner, even if it's challenging.
Interesting thoughts. It implies the standard system is perhaps more flexible, or claim drafting strategies are more effective, than we might assume just looking at the existence of this exceptional case rule.
Could be. Worth pondering.
All right, that wraps up our deep dive into MPP Section 705 Patentability Reports. Thanks for joining us on this detailed look.
My pleasure. And a big thank you again to Mike Shepard, our creative director, for putting this whole series together.
Yes, absolutely. And just our usual reminder, this summary was created using AI tools and is based on the MPP text, but it might have errors or leave things out. It's purely for educational, informational purposes.
Definitely not legal advice. For anything official or binding, you absolutely need to consult the official MPP itself or talk to a qualified instructor or a registered patent practitioner.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for listening.
Join us next time for another deep dive.